Right, as part of week 7, we did a little catch-up quiz on everything that we've done. So we just picked out a couple of questions from each week. So the first thing we did was from week 1, and we had write the first 5 prime numbers. And remember, 1 is not a prime number, so it's 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. And these are numbers that only have factors of 1 and itself. So write 36 as a product. This is such a common question in GCSE. A product of its prime factors in index form. And you'll always find that they'll give you a bit of space underneath, so they're leading you on, giving you a bit of a clue as to write a factor tree. So let's do this. 36. Any two numbers that multiply together to make 36. And there's a prime number. Any two numbers that get 18, prime number. And 3 times 3 is 9. So we've got all this. We've got 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. Now, in index form, we've got to tidy this up a bit. 2 squared times 3 squared equals 36. What else did we have from week 1? Find the highest common factor of 18 and 24. So, we need to find all the factors of 18, which is 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6, and all the factors of 24, which is 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. And the biggest number that appears in both sets is this one. So the answer is 6. Then we moved on to week 2, and this was some fractions. So 2 and a third plus 3 and 3 and a quarter. Now there is 2 ways to do this. I'll do both. First of all, because it's an addition, we can just add the big numbers together. So we can get 2 plus 3 equals 5, and remember that. Then all we've got to do is a third plus a quarter. So we find a common factor by multiplying the bottom 2, which is 12. Then we cross multiply. 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. So that equals 7 twelfths. So we put the 2 together, 5 and 7 twelfths. Now the other way of doing this was 2 and a third plus 3 and a quarter. Turn them into top heavy. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3, plus 3 fours are 12 plus 1 is 13 over 4. And then we do the same as we did above. 3 fours are 12, but the numbers are a bit bigger now. 4 sevens are 28, and 3 13s are 39. And add the 28 and 39 together, which is 5967 over 12. So 67 divided by 12, 5 12s are 60 with 7 left over. So you get the same answer, but you've done it 2 different ways. Then what's the reciprocal of, what do we do, 7/8? So we just turn it upside down and we go, yeah, 8 over 7. Or if you want to be really picky, 1 1/7. Yeah. Then we did something quite different. Change 4/15 into a decimal. Now, It's 4 divided by 15. It's a bit awkward number, yeah? So let's do 4. And I'm going to put some zeros in there to help us. So 15. 15s into 4 don't go. 15s into 40 go 2, because 2 15s are 13. I've got 10 left over. 15s into 100 go 6, because 6 15s are 90. So I've still got 10 left over. 6, 10 left over, 6. Oh, it's 0.26 recurring. Now, if they wanted you to put it to 2 decimal places, as they so often do, then this is going to be the first decimal place, the second decimal place, the third decimal place. So we add 1 back on, so it will be 0.27 to 2 decimal places. So that was week 2, I think. Then we did week 3. So week 3, and it was a ratio question. Share 600 between A and B in the ratio of 1 to 2. Nice and easy, yeah? So you just add the ratios together, which makes 3. So we've got 3 altogether. So then you find the value of each ratio by dividing it by 600 by 3, which equals 200. And so A will get 1 times 200, which equals 200. And B gets 2 times 200, which equals 400. And see, 200 and 400 add together to make 600. Then we had a more tricky one where we said reduce the ratio of, what was it, 4 to 3 to 1 to n. N is we don't know yet. So start this way, go 4 to 3, and underneath write 1 to n. Now, you will always use the number above the 1, whether it's the other way around or not. So to get from 4 to 1, you divide by 4. You divide by this number above the 1. So to get from 3 to n, we must do the same thing and divide by 4. So 3 divided by 4 is that. There's your answer. Then we moved on to week 4. That's just quite a lot, wasn't it? Solve. This is a BIDMAS question. Solve the square root of 3, 2 plus 1. Okay, so do the brackets first. So I'll write down BIDMAS so that we remember. Do the brackets first. 2 plus 1 is 3. So we then add 3 times the 3 that was in the brackets, which is 9, and the square root of 9 equals 3. Right, so then we had workout. X to the 4, this is all to do with indices. X to the 3, just to remind you. Simple, simple, simple. When you multiply indices, you add the indexes, so that becomes x to the 7. And a reminder of what is x to the 0. Anything to the 0 is always 1. Then we had week 5. Right, so you're going to invest £500. £500 invest at 3% compound. We did it both ways, didn't we, in class? For 5 years. So how much have we got at the end? So we do 500 times 1.03. 1 is the 100%, which represents the 500. 0.3 is the 3%. So it's always 1 point something or other, yeah? And unless of course you're losing value, but this time we're increasing, and we're doing it for 5 years, so just do it to the power of 5. And I'm going to have to use a calculator for this one, so can't do that in my head. So 500 times 1.03 to the power of 5 equals 579.64 pence. Yeah, I've rounded it up to the nearest penny. Now, imagine it was, we do the same thing, £500, invest 3%. This time, simple interest for 5 years. I've forgotten the word interest, but I'll say it, interest, so we know what we're doing. Right, so what we do now is we work out what 3% of £500 is, and 3% of £500 is 15. Yeah. Then we've got the number of years, so we do 15 times 5, which is £75, and we simply add the £75 onto our original amount to give us 575. So we did it both ways, yeah, both ways. And finally, or well, almost finally, we did something about week 6, where we did simplify. It's collecting like terms, this one. 3x minus x plus 2y plus 6y. So we collect all the x's, so we've got 3 x's there, take away an x, that leaves us 2x, 2y's there and 6y's there, so that gives us 8y's. And have a look, something's popped up on the screen there. We had, last of all, we had a rectangle, sort of rectangle anyway, 4x and x, and we were asked to work out the area as an algebra thing. So when you've got a rectangle, you just multiply these two things together, so it will be 4x squared, and it's possibly centimeters or something, but I didn't want to put centimeters at the end of that because it just makes it all a bit complicated. And that was the little quiz we had. Okay,